Hello everyone. Hello everyone. This is Yusuf Haji. Welcome to my Haji Daily. This is my little space that I want to use to do what is right and fight for what we want and changes that we want in our communities. And that's why I'm here. That's why we're going to continue building from here and having this conversation about what is best for all of us collectively as a community. So I'm going to start off, first of all, by paying a special tribute to someone that we lost this month. And before I get to that, I want to speak about a little bit about COVID-19 and Omicron, and I've not been feeling well, so I wasn't really able to participate in the funeral and all that process. But I knew this person. I only met him once, and I had a great impression of him, and I wanted to share that, and I wanted to pay this special tribute to him for this show. There's so many other things I want to talk about, but I think just for today, I'm gonna do a special tribute to Mel Reeves, and I'll read this just to share with you my one-time experience with, or my one-time encounter with Mel Reeves. And my first encounter with Mel Reeves was when I saw him at a protest organized by the Anti-War Committee in North Minneapolis on April 3rd, 2019. I watched him walk towards a gathered crowd with protest cards on Plymouth Avenue North. We had gone there to protest because there was Trump had said something about Somalis and Muslims and also about Ilhan Omar. So we all went out there and just to protest against what Trump and what the Republicans were doing then, or what the people were saying then. Just hate, right? We were just there to protest and also support our Palestinian and also Syrian and Iraqi brothers and sisters at that time, and just basically speaking on what Martin Luther King, because we are in January, and what Martin Luther King would have said and done at this moment if he was still alive. So going back to where I was, it's important. So like I said, I went to a protest that was organized by Anti-War Committee in North Minneapolis on April 3rd, 2019. I watched as people gathered to protest. Reeves was walking. I noticed that Reeves was walking hurriedly away from the Minneapolis Urban League parking lot, heading towards the adjacent building. While crossing, he was crossing over North Oliver Avenue to the other side of the parking lot, to the other building. He also seemed animated and occasionally seemed to raise his voice, directed to another brother who was wearing a black overall with a black round crown fedora hat. The brother was trying to catch up with Reeves while Reeves was walking quicker, trying to get away from that space. And the brother seemed a little bit apologetic towards Reeves, trying to explain why what happened. Reeves was wearing a black coat and had a white T-shirt. Reeves raised his megaphone, asking the crowd to move in closer. Later, this was going on, so I kind of wanted to know what happened here, and I asked. And I was made to understand the person following Reeves was the director of Minneapolis Urban League, and apparently there was a plan in place for the anti-war protest to happen right in front of the building and in the parking lots. So there was this idea was cancelled very quickly, and I think there was an unseen hands into this, and also a political pressure not to hold the protest in front of the Minneapolis Urban League. And so Mel Reeves was not happy about it, and he seemed to be really protesting at that decision. Anyway, he got on his megaphone, clearly making it known to the crowd why they had to move location away from the Urban League building. From this first-hand impression, I felt Reeves showed, for me, I showed a deep commitment of wanting change, not caring about who stood in his way. He showed me he cared deeply for our collective community. Reeves described himself on one of the articles that I read, described himself as a human rights activist, journalist, a commentary writer, and organizer. This is from the Minnesota Spokesman Recorded Report. Also, he was a native of Miami, Florida, arriving in Minneapolis after attending college in Iowa. As you all know, his presence on Twin Cities journalism scene for more than he has been on Twin Cities journalism scene for more than 20 years, covering the news with activism and passion and open perspective. Also, this is what Nekima Levy Armstrong said about Reeves. Mel was a true champion for justice. Thinking about his life, his legacy brings a smile to my face, even in the midst of mourning his loss of life. I consider him a friend, a brother, and a comrade in the fight for justice. And this is why I think we need also to continue on the legacy of people like Mel Reeves. Of course, this starting way back when people like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and many among these civil rights icons that fought for a lot of us here. As you all know, I'm a black recent immigrant from Africa. I'm raising 4 black children in America. I have attended countless of events. Mel Reeves was always collectively speaking for all of us, regardless of our background. As you all know, we are witnessing a new experience for immigrants in the Minnesota criminal justice system. There is an unjust war, unjust system, and this has been ongoing from historically for a long time. And now, the new immigrants are part of the collective punishment in American criminal justice system. Mel Reeves was at the front using his voice to fight for prison reform, racial justice, and police reform. More importantly, he was for black empowerment. He was for black empowerment. So we need Reeves. We need people like Mel Reeves among us. He must be reincarnated. I believe we're living in a dangerous time in the United States. What we are witnessing is unapologetic racism with no regards to decency. Our collective, it's a collective hive from yesteryears with deep-seated hatred for anything that is not white. These hives have structures in place that can be used or even speed up fascism in America. Look no further than the U.S. criminal justice system. Here in Minnesota, we need to revisit the version of the omnibus judiciary and the public safety policy and finance bill. It has more than 24 proposals on reforming the police procedures in response to George Floyd, Dante Wright, Philando Castile, and others' encounter with the police. We must adopt a collective House-sponsored police reform and accountability that proposes measures that will establish and sign and release warrants, limit officers' authority to stop or detain drivers solely for petty misdemeanor motor vehicle equipment violations, such as having expired license, tap, or broken turn signals. Modify the post-board police misconduct database, establish a law enforcement model policy on response to public assemblies, prohibit law enforcement affiliation with white supremacy groups, require chief of police to submit duty to intercede reports to the post-board, allow local units of government to establish law enforcement citizens with oversight council, eliminate a certain statute of limitation for police officers committing a crime, limit no-doc search warrant to cases involving first-degree murder, hostage-taking, kidnapping, terrorism, and human trafficking, require 911 operators to refer calls involving mental health crisis to mental health crisis team when appropriate. This is a Travis law. Require law enforcement agencies to release body camera recording of deadly force or encounter with deadly force with the police incidents to the deceased family and representative within 48 hours of incidents, and require the post board to develop a model policy on use of confidential informants by law enforcement. That is Matthew's law. We need to get it done with working class, but we cannot do it alone. We need to get it done with the working with the Republicans, both in the House and in the Senate. And I believe this election, the Republicans will take control of the Senate and they will take control of the House. So we need to do what we need to do to making sure that we're doing the right outreach and making sure that we get this done together with the DFL. So we need to find people in the other party willing to listen and compromise on lasting solution when it comes to police policy reform. We cannot leave it on the DFL alone for some unknown reason. For us, it seems a self-sabotage in itself if we don't. In this coming election, we should be better prepared to negotiate with the Republicans because they're disdain to win both houses, the Senate and the House. With that said, I wanted to pass on this, and hopefully we're going to continue having this conversation moving forward. I will be having two programs, morning, which I will be solely focused on speaking in Somali, and in the evenings, it will be more English, speaking or English or spoken English program that I can be able to share this with the rest of Minnesota. This is Yusuf Haji. Thank you again for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I look forward to you. Follow me on Twitter at The Haji Daily, YouTube at The Haji Daily, Facebook at The Haji Daily. Anywhere else, you can find me at The Haji Daily. Thank you for joining me. Have a good day and take care. Peace. Peace. See ya.